Well, I want to kind of go through your journey and how you built your business, what role maybe I've assisted and with Peak Capital and High Country, and how you got started as far as when you decided to go out on your own. And
how far back you want me to go? I mean, this started a long time ago, but
well, you shared the story. I think was it the motorcycle?
yeah, when I started, it was all, I worked for someone else, and I asked them for a raise because I was doing their work and I was bringing in other work, and I just felt like, that was worth something for me to go the extra mile, and they just couldn't do it or wouldn't do it, whatever. So lack of better opportunity kind of thing, and everything kind of fell into place. And so I took a loan out against my Harley. I went and bought a skid steer and rented an excavator, and went and did that job. And that's kind of how it started. And then my wife too, she was a big part of me getting started, and backing me and giving me that positive motivation, reinforcement, whatever you want to call it, to go out and chase it, see where it went.
Yeah, so it's from sort of small beginnings and you built up. So just share what exactly it is that you do, as far as, because now you've grown from one company and now you have two, seven-figure companies as far as what you generate and revenue.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit as far as what each of them does, and again how you started with maybe a skid steer, and now
right. So it started out with just me, and I had my skid steer and I rented that excavator. When I got done with that, I landed another job up here, and so I bought my first mini excavator and got financed for that. I would say the first, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years, it was just me. And then later in that third year, I think, is when I finally was able to hire a couple of people. And that was just excavation. That's all I did at the time. And I didn't really do a lot of utilities unless it was for a house or something like that. But then I got into doing some more utilities. I was able to purchase a large excavator. And so now I had 2 excavators, a mini and a big one. And so then I got to a point, I landed a pretty big job down the hill. And so I hired an operator that I knew from previous employment. And he came to work for me, and I hired another guy with him. And so then it was kind of 2 crews. I had a crew and they were a crew. And it
so
kind of
did this sort of just naturally evolve, or as opposed, because a lot of people in business like, I want to stay small and I'll just do it myself. I'll just get one person and that's all I want to do. It's just like, another job. Let's bring on some more people. I get some more equipment. Let's do more jobs.
No, ultimately that probably would have been nice, but no, I get bored with things. And so I started moving and getting more jobs, and I was like, I got these jobs. I need more people. Now I need more equipment, but I still got to get in and out of machines, and I still go and work with the guys on site once in a while, very seldom now, but it naturally kind of evolved into something bigger. And actually that first big job that I got, a week after I hired these 2 people, because I had the work to support them, the job fell through. Thankfully, I had gotten a non-refundable deposit from them. And so that helped me. But yeah, that first year with those guys, I think we moved every day, maybe every other day. So it was a nightmare just keeping work in front of them. And so that's where I got more out of the machine, because I knew I had to have that work for them. So I was constantly out beating down doors, trying to get driveways, whatever we could get. And we made it there. And then...
so this was kind of a good motivator where you've got other people you're now taking care of, and now I got to get more business. I got to get more business.
Right.
So you're kind of looking and hungry for keeping these guys busy.
Right. And I wasn't, staying busy's always been what it is for me. I have to stay busy or I get bored, and start thinking about
and
other
start
things.
wander off at another trail, and you're, oh, look at this
Yeah.
shiny object over here.
Yeah. And there was another excavator, actually, my first or second winter, there was another excavator, Mike Kearney, he actually gave me some work when it was still just me, so I didn't have to keep the other guys busy to make their pay. It was just, if I didn't have work, I sat at home or I went out and got more work. And, he came in and gave me a sewer line job at a time when I really needed it, and it worked out. I just, have a brain that never stops, and I have this great support team around me that helps me get where I need to be in a lot of ways to make everything work. And sometimes I get ahead of the game and I start something else and it's not quite working out, but I have that vision of where I know where it's going to get. And sometimes there's a little slag in it, and sometimes it costs me a little extra money for doing it that way. I'll buy it maybe even earlier than I need it. And so far, I mean, it puts strain on a lot of things, it does, but so far it's always worked out. I've always been very aggressive at making, getting to the finish line on things. And I feel like that's most of it, and I try to do a good job for everybody, and if the customer's not happy with something, then I go in and I fix it, and because at the end of the day, the customer's got to be happy. And I've done a lot of that, and I don't know.
I think that's important. I think a lot of people say that, but you don't necessarily see that in the end with how people operate as far as trying to do right by your customer.
Right.
Doing things on time, in the right manner, and doing really good quality work, and that allows your business to grow. It seems like a pretty simple concept, but sometimes I feel that there's sort of a lack of that out in a lot of business these days. So when you are doing those things, people recognize that, and that allows you to stand out. And that's, I'm sure, what people have identified you've worked with.
Right.
I mean, that's why when you have people in your same line of work and they're giving you business, and you guys are helping each other out and stuff like that, I think that's a pretty strong testament just to how you all operate and how you all want to see each other succeed and make sure everyone's doing well.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too, because whenever I start something new, it never fails. Somebody gets mad because they think that I'm out to take their work, and I've always just tried to coexist. There's plenty of work up here for everybody. And so I just try to exist with the companies that are here. I know that they're paving the way. I'm not trying to take any of their glory, anybody's glory. I'm just trying to make a living. And, I got so many jobs and so much stuff. Then it worked into, I needed office help. And so I've had some really good office help along the way. My mom's actually office help as well until the end of the year, and then I'm kind of semi-retiring her, but she's going to continue on helping. But then, what was it? 3 years ago now? 2 years ago? 3 years ago? You came in and helped us buy a kitchen and company.
Yep, when you acquired the other company, and I think that's when it seemed like things took that next step. And
and that was a big step for us. It was a lot of nights of me pacing the floor, hyperventilating, and what am I doing?
And that's a natural part of the process. You're excited about it, and the next you're like, oh my, what have I done? Have I taken on more than I should have? Right. Because everything is like, but I was comfortable. Right. And then you're like, okay, but at some point you have to sort of break out of that and let's take the next step, and things will evolve. And if you're operate from that sort of abundance mindset where, again, you're not taking anyone's business, but, things, up here continue to grow, and there's more and more business. So you're able to access more of that. And then with having you as a resource, that allows for more growth up here as well. Right.
And and my wife always asks me, when's enough going to be enough? And, it's like, I like to be an uncomfortable person, because it's like I get a little bit comfortable and I'm like, okay, cool. What else are we going to do? And so then last year, I guess, we bought, some of my family came in with me, and we bought a concrete company. And then again, you came in and helped us buy a building, and and a lot of stuff like that, and that was awesome. And it kind of spread us out a little bit to where I actually had an office, and my back seat wasn't my file cabinet anymore. And so that helped a bunch, and I had to get some more office staff, and and a lot of it goes back to the employees too. I have a lot of employees, and for the most part, I mean, you get some guys that have a day where they're kind of laid back, and it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, I can say probably every employee I have, if I ask them, they will all step up to the plate and go that extra mile and help us get where we need to, and so that goes a long ways too. I've always felt like, you get back what you put into them, and so I've always put as much as I can into my employees. And most of the time, well, actually this year is the first time that I actually got a consistent paycheck. And that's kind of nice, but I still don't get, I don't take more than what I need. I was fortunate enough that before I started all this, my wife helped me, and we got all of my debt taken care of. So we didn't have that overhead right out of the gate. And that's always helped out. I mean, I have a motorcycle payment and stuff like that, but you got to have a little bit of fun too. So, I pay myself minimal. A lot of the employees make more money than I do. I know that sounds dumb.
But you have
right.
But you have a bigger vision as far as when you go to the destination. Right. That's part of being owner of a company. They're like, oh, you're making all this money. It's like, no, not necessarily. I'm taking all the risk, and I'm the very last person to get paid. Right. But I'm also willing to take on that risk because I see what this could be 5 years from now, and and then where you can start receiving your payday and your reward for all the time and effort. Right. But I think as far as the people you have, because that's always an important thing as far as growing a business, is having good people. Right. So was it really easy? I just hired people and they're all wonderful and they just do whatever they want to do?
That's not a thing. That's not a thing at all. Sometimes you got to step up and be that guy that you don't want to be, and let people understand why you're doing things, and that they shouldn't expect the extras unless they are stepping up to the plate and doing the extras. You have a lot of people that show up and you hire them and they're like, oh yeah, I can do this, this, and this. And you're like, okay, well, this is kind of where we're going to start out at. And I do everybody on like a trial period. I give them 90 days to prove their worth. And I start out most people a little bit lower than just for that 90 days. But at 90 days, we sit down and, figure out where they should be. But you hire a lot of people that say they can do a lot of things.
I do a lot of things.
Yeah, and they can't.
This is what I expect, and and sometimes you have to have those hard conversations, and that's not everyone's a fit, and that's right. And sometimes it can be a process and a grind to kind of get everyone on board so they can start to embrace the same vision that you have. Right. A lot of people, you might be a small company, and why are we growing? Everything's fine. Right. And that's usually if you have people like that. And it's like, well, then you may not be the right person that will be on the next part of the journey. You've been great up to this point, but if you can't see the bigger picture, and I know that's always a challenge for many people, and sometimes you have to have those hard conversations, and some people step up, but I know we've talked where sometimes you have to talk to staff and hold them accountable, and I think most of the time they appreciate that. And I think that's what a lot of people are actually looking for. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you got to kind of, to go back to the vision thing, there are a lot of people that cannot see my vision. And I wish I could just draw a picture for everybody because it's pretty awesome vision, but that's okay.
But that's why
that's why I'm doing it.
That's why you're the head of the company.
Right. Some people can't see the vision because they're not that kind of person, and that's okay. I mean, if it was easy, everybody'd do it. And it's not easy, and it's, a lot of people need that security. And I mean, I'm not saying I don't need that security, but I try to think things through. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't all the time. But even on the ones that I don't think through, I make it work, because I might not be able to visualize how it's going to start, but I can see the end picture. So if I start it and it's a little bit off, I just take a right-hand turn and get on the right path and make it, because the final destination is what I'm going after. I'm not necessarily, nobody does something the first time correctly. Every time, you know what I mean? And I've started, my two businesses are actually like 6, because we have a welding shop and a mechanic shop, and we have the gravel pit, and we have the trucking and the excavating and the concrete, and
it's all expanding out.
Yeah,
just
right.
One truck to start with, and,
right, one little one-ton pickup.
How it starts to grow, and
yeah, and that's how these things work. I mean, it just is, and then we just started a building company as well. So now we're a GC as well, and so now my stepson, my wife's kid, came to work for us, and he's been a builder. I mean, he went home from the hospital with a framing hammer in his diaper bag. His dad and his grandpa are both builders. His grandpa is actually a well-known builder in this town, and so he's bringing that to the picture, and he can see the visual. He knows what we're kind of working towards, and he wants to be a part of it. And I feel like he's liking it so far. My youngest son, he's involved in it. He's just starting out with a shovel in his hand in the ditches, but that's where I started. So,
yep,
you got to know every aspect of it if you want to run it.
Start at the bottom and learn everything, and then decide if this is what's for you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And my wife, she has a couple of businesses as well, and it's a lot. We are very busy people, and
I think it's important to point out too is how you look at something, and instead of going off and doing something completely different, you see what resources you have, and then is there some way we can utilize those? You're moving the dirt, and now you're pouring concrete, and the next thing is we can certainly build. I mean, if we're doing everything horizontal, we might as well go vertical and stuff with that. And then we're working on our equipment all the time. We have a shop, so we can have a mechanic shop as well. And I think that's important. You're trying to utilize everything that you have and looking for those little opportunities within the business to sort of expand and grow that out. And I think that's important. I think some people get so narrow that they're sometimes miss some opportunity. In this situation, you go down that path. If it works, great. If not, then hey, we tried it, and we can go back doing something else.
Right. And something that recently happened with my businesses is actually you're the one that told me was the bottle has the bottleneck at the top. And that was me. And I never, when I was a worker for other people, I was always like, man, what do all these people do in the office all the time? We're out here doing all this dirt work, and what are they doing? And now I know. And I was absolutely bottlenecking my company. And so after we had that conversation, I really got on upper management, and recently, like, my stepson came to work, and then I hired another guy, and he's great. He's been helping me for quite some time, but just here and there on the weekends when he could, but now I got him to come on full time. And so that's freeing me up to concentrate on some of the things that I need to concentrate on. Because like I said, I have so much going on that I was trying to do so much that, like the mechanic shop, it's saving me money because they're working on our stuff. But I want it to be an actual mechanic shop open to other people and open to the public. And that's my dream, or that's my vision for that. And I can't get that rolling because the mechanics are great, and I do have a shop foreman, and he's great, but they don't see the vision I have because I haven't had any time to spend up there. I've been too busy trying to run every part of this. So parts of my business suffer from time to time because I'm too busy.
Natural. Yeah.
But now that my eyes were opened by our conversation and I'm getting those people in place, it was always a thing that I always ran everything. And for a long time, I kept everything in my head. And when I was a young man, really young, I worked at a sale barn, and there was a old cowboy, and he went to all the sales and bought cows and everything else. Well, he kept all of that paperwork in his pickup and most of it in his head. His wife didn't even know where some of his cattle were in the country. And so he always told me that his wife was getting on him because if something happened to him, she wouldn't know what, she'd lose half of it.
Whereas I don't know where everything is.
So that pushed me to put stuff down on paper, in computers, whatever, and start doing that. And now I have the upper management. And it was always that, well, I'm here, I can run it. And now I've kind of shifted gears, and I'm building it to where it'll run itself. So if something happens to me, my wife doesn't just have to go fire everybody and sell it all because she doesn't know what's going on. Now it will run itself if something happens to me, and my kids or her or whoever will
it will continue on.
It will continue on without me.
The question goes, if you were to leave for 30 days, what would happen to the business? And most people would like, well, the business wouldn't be able to function. And we're like,
Right.
well, that's something that has to change, because ideally you want to get to a place where you're operating your business. Like if you go somewhere for 30 days, what happens? Oh, things were actually running better, perhaps.
Right.
So, and that's just putting all the right people in, which I know you've been placing a lot of key people in a lot of different positions here recently as well. And
that was another thing that you kind of told me that I'd never thought about, and that's part of the reason why I'm changing it the way I am as well, is because you told me that what would happen. I mean, you didn't tell me direct, you were telling a group of people, but I kind of took that directly, and I was like, yeah, it probably burned to the ground, I don't know. And so I am, and now, me and my wife finally took a vacation. We were gone for a week, and the people that I had in place, when I got back, they were telling me things, and I was like, well, why didn't you just call me? I had my phone. They were like, we weren't going to bug you. This is the first time you went on a vacation. And it ran pretty smoothly. And, some of the people that were new to their spot didn't really know what to do, and that's okay. But the fact of the matter is, I know I can leave for a week and it'll be fine. And, I want to get to that point to where I know if I have something come up and I leave for 30 days, that I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, if there's another opportunity, like there's maybe one part of your business you want to expand and grow out, it's like the next 30 days, my focus is over here.
Right.
And then you're fine, because I know everything else in the other businesses are running as they should be. So that gives you the opportunity where people sometimes get in trouble. Is I'm going to go focus here. Now this is slowing down and falling apart over here. Then I got to go over here. Now this is starting to lag.
And that's why
it's usually a process or a people issue if that starts to happen.
And that's exactly what I told my wife last night, I think it was, or maybe the night before. I was like, I'm getting these people in place, and they know how to do everything that I know how to do, and they're running it. So now I can concentrate on the mechanic shop. I can concentrate on because that's exactly what was happening. I was like, okay, I've got to get this up to par, because they've been lagging behind way too long, So I spend some time here, and then exactly this over here is, I'm like, oh, and I was just running circles and not getting anything done.
Yep, you just sort of chasing your tail, and I'm like,
Right.
man, I was busy today. Then if you stop for a moment, like, but what did I accomplish?
Right.
You know, that's usually a sign, like maybe I need to restructure some of the things I'm doing. That's usually it starts becoming a process
Yeah.
issue where you need to start putting more processes into place so things function a little bit better. So
Yeah.
like, so you don't get to the end of the day and man, I'm wiped out,
Right.
but I'm not sure why.
And already, I know just the people that I've put in place, the shop foreman, my stepson, John, and the office people that really take care of a lot of the stuff. I've already noticed a change, and it's only been a week, couple weeks, something like that. And I've already noticed a change where I'm like at my desk doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm like, man, my phone hasn't rang in a half hour. Is that thing on? Or you know what I mean? Yeah. And most of the time it's not on. That's why.
Wendy, can you call my phone? I don't think it's working.
Right.
No, it's working.
Right.
It's actually a good thing.
But so that just tells me that they're doing their part. They can see where I'm going with this, and it's exciting. I get extremely amped up talking about my business and thinking about where we're going and the people that are involved in it. And I had some people kind of ask me about my business here the other day, and I got to talking about it and sharing things with them, and I was so excited, and I was like, sorry, I get a little excited. And they're like, yeah, we can tell you are very passionate about what you do. And I am. They say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And are there bad days? Yeah, there's bad days. But at the end of the day, I absolutely love what I do.
So what's it been, you mentioned where things were growing. Has it been about the last 3 years or so where you've seen sort of this accelerated growth? You took over the other company, you got the pit, then you brought on the concrete company. That's all been probably within the last
3 years.
3 years, whatever, where you've had some sizable growth, and there's always some growing pains with all that stuff as well.
Yeah, there is. It's there's a lot of times I wake up. I haven't done it for a while, but I wake up in the middle of the night for probably, I don't know, a couple, 3 years. I'd wake up at the end of the month in the middle of the night, and well, before I did it because I was still working in the field. But now it's just when I take my company takes a big step, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be wondering about something. So I got to go down, and I'll go down to my office and work all night and all day the next day and not even really realize it. But the expanded growth, the big growth has been over the last 3 years, and it's, I don't know if terrifying is the word, but
it should be. That means you're trying to expand. We talked in our Wealth Warrior X group. We spent a lot of time trying to look at things differently with a different mindset. We talk a lot about 10X. Where my goal is to generate $1 million. Well, what if it was $10 million? Now,
Right.
how do you have to look at your business differently? And it's like, oh, well, now I have to completely redo how I'm doing my business. And that's like, that's how we want to sort of change that mindset so you can see bigger picture and start to see like, the people you put in place and the processes. And this business might not get me totally the way there. So I have some other avenues within that business so I can expand and grow that out.
right.
So I think that's having that, bigger vision, but it's a scary process just because a lot of times most of us are just accustomed to being comfortable
Right.
where we're at. I see that with some people where I think they like, hey, that person has that factor that says they're ones that they're going to go out above and beyond, and then sometimes I see they just fall into a trap, and then unfortunately I think they'll years down the road they'll probably look back and start to wonder, what could have I accomplished?
Right.
So in your situation, it's like I don't want I don't want to be thinking about that.
Right.
So I want to see, what can I do in the next 3 years.
Right.
So we talk about,
Yeah.
what that looks like, and it's certainly not. You've grown to a great place now, but 3 years we've had those conversations, which is a much bigger picture even as well.
Right. Absolutely, it is. And one thing, I don't live by what's comfortable for me. I raised my kids all not to live in fear of anything. I have 2 kids that are in the Navy, and everybody's like, "Oh, doesn't that make?" No, it doesn't make me nervous. They're doing what they want to do, and I encourage everybody to do the same thing. And you have to lead by example. Leaders lead by example. That's just the way it is. And would it have been easier for me to have, one guy to help me and just stayed with the Mini and the skid steer? Yeah. But now I have, one of the things that I enjoy about what I do is knowing that I have roughly 35, 40 employees, something like that. And it makes me feel good knowing that I'm helping to provide for their family. I mean, they're obviously putting in the work. They're getting the paycheck. But if I would have stayed with one skid steer and one Mini, I would only be helping one person provide for their family. And, it's a feel-good thing. It's never been about the money or anything like that for me. I enjoy helping people, always have, always will. And yeah, I like to lead by example. So I go out and just go after whatever vision I have. I've always just gone after it.
So what's the bigger vision? I mean, where do you see down the road? And 5 years from now, bigger company, or just hanging out on the dock at the lake and casting your line in and then riding your motorcycle? Or
I laugh about that
all of it
with my wife, because I always tell her that I'm going to retire early, and that's anybody that knows me knows that's a joke. I mean, I might not be here every day. I might not be to where I have to be here all the time, because I might get this set up to where, but I will always come to work. I love what I do. I do. I love talking to people. I love seeing my employees' families. I just went out 3 nights ago, something like that. I went out to dinner with one of my employees and his family because it was his son's birthday. And I love doing that stuff. I go down, I have a pretty aggressive high school force that comes to work for me, and I like to hire out of the high school. And I go to the high school. I mean, my youngest is a senior this year, and everybody's like, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Nothing," because I have employees that are still in the high school. And I plan on still doing that because it gets their hands dirty. They can try it out through a summer. If they don't like it, they can try something else. And that's one thing that's nice about what I've built is there's so many different aspects of my business. They might not want to work on cars. Maybe they want to pour concrete. Maybe they want to be a welder. And so I actually, kids come out of the high school, even during school, because they do that extended learning or whatever it is.
Yep.
And so they come for a class. And I have a couple that weld, I have a couple that mechanic, and then now I'm starting to do a program where I send them to school, and I'll pay for the school, and they can work for me for so long. And when they get to the end of that, they'll be ready if they want to, if they come into mechanics, they could go get a mechanics truck and go work anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. And they've got all the experience they need, because they work on all my heavy equipment and cars. And I mean, we have everything from cars to 50-ton excavators that they're working on. So in the long run, I don't really know what that looks like for me, because I don't want to go sit by a lake and fish. Maybe a couple of days, and maybe I'll take a couple of days off and go ride my Harley, but I get bored. And I have to have something keeping my mind working all the time. So right now, I don't see me like moving out of it. And everybody would love to say, oh, I'm building this for my kids to take over. But the fact of the matter is I'm building this to continue on. And I would love it if my kids ran it, but if they don't, I'm building it to where it'll keep
Create
running
some sort of
no
legacy.
matter what.
Yeah.
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 So, and it's something that they could step into, and if they get into it and they love it like me, then they'll want to be involved in it and they'll want to do it. And I feel like they'll want to do it for the same reasons I do. And if not, I'm building it so it'll run itself anyway. So, you know.
So do you ever take time just to pause and reflect back just to see how far you've come from when you started?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, I don't like to look back very often because, you know, you make mistakes and that's how you succeed. You know, failure it's not failure. It's just a part of succeeding. And so there's some things, but yeah, there are definitely days, especially when I have conversations with people just like we're having right now. I get to talking about it and it kind of makes me giggle a little bit, you know, and it's kind of a big deal when I look at it, but when I'm doing it, I don't really think of it that way. I'm just going through my day, and if this pops up, cool, let's try that. But I don't really think about it. But yeah, when I sit down and really think about all the nonsense.
So when you started, did you say, yeah, this is exactly what I pictured where I'd be or what I'm doing that way? Or was it just like, I think I'll just go try this thing? And
I started this thing for lack of better opportunity.
Yeah.
I wanted to at least make enough money to pay my bills, and I wasn't at the time. And so for lack of better opportunity is why I started this initially. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't have a big vision, nothing. I just figured, you know what? I've been doing excavation my whole life and I'm going to try it. I never had in the past tried that on my own. I tried a few other things, but I didn't try that on my own. And so I just went for it. And then, you know, and me and my wife talk about it, you know, all the time about where we started, where this whole deal started and where it is now for both of us. I mean, you know, she was working at Waste Management, I think, when we started this, or maybe SRM, and she drove a concrete truck and she drove a trash truck, and you know, we started out with nothing and just a few people. It's kind of funny because the dump truck that I started with, a club brother of mine gave me. The motorcycle that I took the loan out against, a club brother sold to me, and at a really reasonable price, and gave me the title so that I could get the loan. And, you know, just trusted that I would pay. And that's one thing I've prided myself on, is if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So, you know, I'm very big on following through. It's a huge personal thing for me. But yes, I do sit back and think some days of where this started, especially when I'm in my office. I'm like, this is kind of weird. But, you know, because I always hated the office, you know, I never understood the office part of it. And now it's like, oh, okay, I get it.
I think there's an important lesson in there where he said, hey, I'm just looking for an opportunity, and you decided to take action. I think that's what most people do, is they're like, I have a really good idea, but can never just go and just do it.
Well, and a lot of
you just probably just figured it out as you went along. I'm just gonna take the first step, and then I'll see where that leads me, and then I'll figure out the next thing, and then I'll figure out the next thing.
And that goes all the way back to a lot of people just need security. And I'll tell you right now, starting your own anything is scary, especially if you're all in and you don't have a job. You know, a lot of these people, they'll start something and they only do it on the weekends, and then they work their full-time job. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably the smarter way to do things. But like me, I just, you know, I was like, yep, this is what I'm going to do. And I went all in, and I took that dive, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that, and nothing wrong with that. But I'm not that guy. I'm always all in. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it 110%, or I'm not going to do it. And Yeah, so a lot of the conversations me and you have had has actually helped me, because when we talked about the bottlenecking and we talked about the business running for 30 days, whether you were there or not, a lot of those things helped me to put these people in place, because I'm not going to lie, I was getting kind of down on myself because I do everything 110%, and my business was suffering because I couldn't do everything 110%. Mm-hmm. And now that, we had those conversations and I got some of those people in place, I can see, we're not there yet, but I can see that I'm going to be able to get back to where I can concentrate on this until it's smooth, and then I can pick something else, and it's room for expansion. And that's, when I started out, I just started doing houses and small jobs, and houses aren't small jobs, but little parts of houses and little parts of small jobs and everything else. And as I've grown to where I'm at now, one thing that we don't have in this town is a big commercial excavator, concrete people. They will do it, but we don't have somebody that concentrates on that. And I will tell you, the most terrifying step that my company took is when I went into commercial, because you don't get paid right when you get done working. You don't, there's a lot of lag in a lot of things. And, you might finish a job and the customer come to you and say, yeah, thanks for doing that 2 or 3 months job, but we had a bad 2 or 3 months and we can't pay you, but we're going to add interest on. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but I got bills, so that's probably the most terrifying step that I took. But now that I got through the initial, it's still, definitely not out of the woods with it yet, because it's still the same. There's a lot of lag and everything, but now we're building up to be bigger to where that's where I see it going, to where we're more of a commercial contractor for these big jobs that we have in town. Because
that'd be great to have someone local that can handle all that here.
Right. Yep. We don't have anybody. Even a couple of years ago, when I was 3 years ago, before I got all that, me and some of the other contractors could have banded together and done it. But a lot of people just don't want to take, like you said, a lot of people don't want to take that step into that commercial. And I personally am tired of watching other companies come up here, because I know we have tons of people that come through here, but we're a small town.
Well, that's being a small town. We want to keep the money here,
right? As
opposed to if you bring up somebody from down below and then they get paid, that money's gone.
Right, or other states, they take it to their state. They don't keep it here.
Yeah, what we want to do is there's a big job here. You're using local people. They get paid. It cycles through the local economy, and that helps. It starts to help everybody. I think that's important. So to have the ability to do those types of jobs to help service the community as a whole.
Right. And I do have a few employees that drive up from the valley. Everybody, I think, that has several employees does. But the majority of my employees live right here in town or right on the outskirts of town. I'm very big on local. I'm doing a job for the town, and I wanted to do the whole thing local. So I bid it with our company and everything, and we got the job, and I was going to do everything right down to welding everything in our shop here in town. Now, other circumstances happened, and materials are more than what you can get it built for, and I have a bid job, so I still have to do it for a set price. So I did have to outsource that, but that's like the only thing that I had to outsource. The rest of it, everybody right here in town, I'm using a local engineer, everything is right here. And that's kind of where I'm trying to get to, where, we have this national park right here. I want to get in on their list as a contractor, so that our people right here at the door, at the gateway to our national park, are doing the work in the national park. Whether that's me or whether it's a sub that I bring in, I think that our town would do really good by having local people do all of our work. And that's where that's the vision that I have right now.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to get.
So you talk about local. So we have our small group of local business entrepreneurs in our Wealth Warrior X group. Any thoughts on that? If that's been helpful as far as, when we get together and sharing time with that and start talking bigger picture for everybody?
Right. Yeah. In the beginning, it was kind of slow start for me. But I guess I shouldn't say that, because the first night I went home from the first day I went home from our meeting, I was like, holy crap, I can't believe all this stuff that I took in, and I didn't even retain it all. And
I went home and wait, this is all the things we're going to do now.
I was extremely excited. My wife was like, you can't go anymore. Wow. No, I'm just kidding. She loves it. It's been great hearing other people's stories. There's been definitely times that I have brought things up and people have said, well, I do this, or maybe I'm not even the one that brings it up, but other people's conversations about it, and the slideshows and all the stuff that you talk about, I get so much information out of that. The AI thing's still freaking me out, but I think I see the importance of it all, and actually. I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was sitting down talking with one of my people, and I said, is there a way that we could set this up to where it would notify us? And, they had kind of the same answer as a lot of people. It was, there's programs you can purchase. And I'm like, well, maybe we should dig into this AI thing and see if there's something that we can design so that we're not purchasing what somebody else has designed, because I want it to work a certain way. And, so I see the importance of, or maybe not importance, but the importance of the AI thing. But it has been extremely eye-opening when you get around a group of people that have, I don't want to say the same mindset, but the willingness to take that step, the entrepreneurs, stuff like that.
I think there's just a different energy in that room as far as what you're starting to discuss, and the potential and the opportunities, and maybe it will do that thing because everyone else there's other people here that are trying to do the same thing. And
it's amazing, we have people that have restaurants, we have people that do short-term rentals. And while they're talking about their business, which I have zero to do with, I don't know anything about their business, but it's amazing how much information I can pull out of their business that I'm like, hey, I could use that in my business. Even though they're totally different businesses.
It's like, that's it. That's the unlock that I've been stuck at, that I couldn't figure out, and you already figured that out in your business. I can take that strategy or that process and incorporate it into what I'm doing, and move on to the next level then.
Right. I get, I've always told people, and I've never understood it, but it's kind of the same thing. Like my brother, he can sit around and talk to people about football and talk to them about each individual player, and he knows their stats, and I've never been able to retain any of that. But I get excited when somebody wants to sit around and talk about, hey, where's this business going? Or, hey, what do you think about this business? Or hey, I got an idea. I get overly excited, and I could sit around and talk all day about ideas. And it's just a difference. They're the same thing. They're just interested in football or baseball or basketball or whatever. But it amazes me what people retain and what they want to talk about. And it's just.
And what about, can you speak to anything as far as how we may have helped, through Peak Capital and High Country Double Diamond? And
well, I mean, I can guarantee you I wouldn't be where I am today without you guys, without both of those companies. Because when I bought out Kitchen and Company with the pit and everything, I worked on that, I think, for a year and a half, and we were pretty much down to signing, and I got noticed. I don't remember. It was a week before or a couple days
like
before or something.
Yeah, at the
and
end.
that's where me and you kind of. My wife actually, I called her and I was like, "We're done. I'm not working on this another day. I'm over it, and I'm tired of people saying they're going to do something and they don't follow through with it." And my wife said, "Babe, hold on," and she hung up the phone, and she called me back like a half hour later. And she said, "I got it figured out." And I'm like, I'm an idiot. I worked on this for a year and a half. My wife figures it out.
Okay, I guess it should have started with you.
Right. And so that's kind of where me and you got to know each other pretty good. And yeah, it was a blessing. You've been a blessing in my family for a long time. Because when my wife was down and out and a single mom, you found financing for her house. And that was long before me. And I appreciate that. And I'm glad for it's funny how things come full circle, just like your house. I was working for another contractor.
Just talking about that.
And I never put two and two together that this was your house. And, but it's funny how those things come around. But yeah, that I would not be where I am today without you, without the businesses, the High Country Double Diamond, the Peak Capital, all of that. I couldn't have done any of this. I can't really say there's one person in my journeys that I would be where I'm at today without, because it was a lot of you, was a lot of my wife, it was a lot of her mom, my parents, my brother, it was a lot of everybody. But yeah, you guys are the reason why we were able to, you guys and Joyce Kitchen and Travis Kitchen are the reason, because I feel like Joyce, for whatever reason, I didn't really know her that well. I got to know her a little bit, and that's awesome. But she wanted me to have this. I don't know if she saw something in me, could see my vision. I don't know what it was, but between you and my wife,
it was going to be in
and
good
her,
hands.
yeah, it wasn't just going to be tore apart by a corporation or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they wanted, and I feel like we're doing a good job. But yeah, with you and her and my wife and her mom and my parents, it took all of us, and there's not one person in that group that, if they wouldn't have been there, that it would have happened. And me and my wife are very thankful for you and your businesses and everything that you help us with and all of that. I mean,
Well, you make it easy.
Yeah, and it's been an excellent experience. It's not, you go into a bank and you're just like, paperwork, and I'm not saying that there's no paperwork with you, but it's, it's the necessity. It's not, well, everybody has to fill out all this paperwork. Well, not everybody's the same.
Yeah.
So I go talk to you and you're like, okay, I need this, this, and this from you. And you just simplify everything and you figure it out. And it's kind of like when you go to a bank, you're like, are they even excited that I'm here and want to pay them interest? Because they don't act like it.
Well, in your situation, I saw the opportunity, and the numbers made sense as far as you had a plan in place, and you needed to grow, and it, it was just the next part of the evolution of as far as what the business does. And sometimes you need some help, and sometimes banks look at it as though, well, when you get to the other side,
right, then call us.
Then we'll help you some more.
Right. Right.
I appreciate that, but I really won't need you at that point.
Right, exactly.
But I have where I'm here right now, and I've got everything put in place. And if I just get that little extra nudge, then I'll start seeing all this, growth going forward.
Right, and I've always been a very personable person, and I hate cell phones and stuff like that. Text messaging, emails. I want to go in and sit down with somebody. I don't want to be a number on a piece of paper to anybody. And that's what I love about our relationship is I can come into your office, sit down with you, have a conversation. Almost every time I go off into left field about these big
got an
visions,
idea.
all these dreams I have.
Okay, all right.
yeah. And you're like, yeah, well, I've got a meeting in 30 minutes.
I need to make it to turn back over here again.
Right, but I mean that's just how it is. Once it goes back to that whole local thing. You know, we're keeping it local. I'm not going to these big banks and these big people, and the money's going everywhere else except for helping us. It's going to somebody that I can come over to your house and sit down with you and have a conversation like we are. You know, you don't get that anywhere. I mean, really, when it comes to a financial side of things, 90% of people don't get that anywhere. And I can't say I never. I did have a really good bank in Nebraska, and they would always sit down and talk to me, but that's who I am. I want face-to-face interaction. It's easy to email somebody something and then not worry about it.
Well, I'm excited to see where everything's going to go here in the next few years.
Yeah, me too.
It'll be quite the journey.
Yes, it will.
So thanks for taking some time and sharing the journey up to this point.